Hey guys, Hunter with True Homes Photography, and today we're talking about pricing, more specifically pricing structures and how to choose one for your real estate photography business. Alright, so over the years, I've tried out multiple pricing structures, trying to find the best one that's simple and effective and feels like it's worth my time to be out shooting properties. I've come up with 4 structures that seem to be the most proven and effective methods for pricing when it comes to real estate photography. Some of those methods would include flat fees or charging by the photo, which I'm going to go ahead and group together, square foot increments, a percentage of the square foot, and also a percentage of the list price. So let's go through these and figure out which ones work the best, what the pros and cons may be to each of these. And the goal is going to be to find a structure that fits for you and your business and your clients, but is also simple so that your clients understand what you're offering. You don't want to spend a lot of time throughout the day answering phone calls trying to describe your pricing. You want it to be simple and effective. All right, we'll start out with what I feel is the most simple method, which is the flat fee structure. When I've seen people use this flat fee structure, I've usually seen them charging, say, like $300 to go take 36 photos, which is the maximum we can put in this area. Most times it says up to 36 photos. So you may not always get 36 photos, which we all know is kind of hard on certain size homes. The downside of a flat fee, while it may be the most simplistic method of all, if you have a client that is listing similar homes, I think this is a great method. But if you have a client, like some of my clients, where they one day may be listing $1 million house, and then the next day maybe like a 3-bedroom, like 1,300 square foot home, they may not want to pay the same price for both of those houses. So that's the only downside to that, but it is definitely the most simplistic method you could choose. The other side of a flat fee would be kind of charging by the photo, which is actually what I'm using right now. What I do is I charge for 25 photos, it's this price, for 36 photos, it's this price, and then if you go up to 48 images, it's this price. So having like a 3-tier structure seems to work pretty well. The only downside would be it's really hard to enforce that a client chooses a certain amount of photos on a house. A lot of my clients list middle to high-end homes, but they always try to order the 25 images because it's the cheapest option. But that is not the best choice for that size house, and so nowhere on my website does it mention that there's a restriction based on the square footage. So I'm really using like an honor system, trusting that they're going to order the right amount of photos. If they don't order the right amount of photos on a house, I can strongly suggest that they order a higher amount of photos, but I can't enforce it because nowhere on my website does it actually say that. So if you were going to choose to charge by the photo amount, I would definitely try to somehow fit in a square foot limitation so that when someone lists a 7,000 square foot house, they're forced to choose the 48 images versus 25 images, which would never work out on that property. And you could do it, if that's what they want, you can just say, okay, that's fine. But is that what the property deserves? I'm not sure. So it's simple, it's easy to explain to your clients, and it's always the same 3 increments. It works pretty well, other than that one downside. The next method will be charging by a percentage of the square foot, which personally I think is probably the best structure, logistically speaking, because you're always going to be paid fairly on the size house you're shooting. However, the price is always going to be different, and you're always going to have to explain that to your clients that this house is bigger. This house is 1,475 square feet, whereas this house is 3,267 square feet. They're going to be completely different prices all over the place, but to be honest, you will always be paid fairly for what you're doing. And the next pricing structure will be charging by a percentage of the list price. However, many times when I've gotten to the house, the agent doesn't even know what they're listing it for yet, so that could backfire on you. But again, just like the square foot, I do feel like you would be getting paid fairly for what you're doing based on the list price. The only downside to that is, again, just not knowing if the agent is going to actually have a price determined yet before the shoot. And if they don't, I don't know exactly how you would handle that, whether you look at the taxes or something else. That just seems like a lot of work. The last method that I've seen, which is actually the method that one of the biggest companies in this area uses, is a square footage increment structure. Every 1,000 square feet, their price changes just a little bit. And I feel like that is probably the most complicated method you could have. While it does avoid the awkwardness of having to call someone and ask them to increase their photo package, like I often have to do, I feel like it's definitely more complicated to explain when people call. This is actually the first method I tried using, but this time I spent on the phone trying to explain my pricing to people was just took up way too much time. And saying something like, our prices range from this to this, but you can see all of our prices on our website, just gives that person one more task to do to find out what your prices are, and so they may just not even go check. At the end of the day, everyone's business is different, and you can choose to price photography however you want. Just keep in mind that simple is better. You want your clients to be able to understand your pricing and not have to ask a bunch of questions. And you also want to be able to get paid fairly for what you're doing and not have people trying to take advantage of your pricing. Of course, you can always avoid situations like that by marketing to clients that actually respect our craft and understand the time it takes to do what we do. And it's not just setting down a camera and snapping some photos. And those are the people that are actually gonna pay for what it's worth. So, whatever pricing structure you choose for your business, just keep in mind, always try to think how someone is gonna come in and try to be cheap, because they always will in any industry. Remember, simple is better. If you're interested in learning more about real estate photography, the business, the editing, the equipment, make sure you subscribe. We got some more videos coming out to hopefully help you become a better photographer and help us all grow in this industry together. And be sure to check out our next video coming up about how to increase your price with current clients. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about this, and I'd also like to hear what you guys are doing in your business with your pricing structures and some of the obstacles you've encountered with those structures. But until next time, thanks for the support and have a great day.